It's another episode of the MC Show, and this is what I'm very excited about because we'll talk about it later in this conversation on how you came across my radar on your Reddit post. But um, I just wanted you to introduce yourself to the show. I'm very excited for this conversation because I'm also developing my own basketball management game, and we just said it like it's such a niche um thing, but knowing that, like I said, Jeremy exists, his website exists, like I just know this is gonna be a cool conversation because I haven't heard what it took to build this website and where we are today. So please, Jeremy, introduce yourself so we can hop into it.
Yeah, sure. My name is Jeremy. I go also by dumbmatter on the internet. Sometimes I'm the developer of Basketball GM, which is a basketball management video game. You play free online in your web browser. It's a single player game. It's kind of strange in some ways, but it's also kind of cool. It has like a kind of like a cult following at this point, I would say, because it's been around for like 10 plus years. And yeah, if you haven't heard of it, go check out basketballgm.com. There's also versions of it for football and hockey and baseball, but basketball is the main one. Is the first one, and in my opinion, the best one.
Yeah, yeah. I will tell you my core memory of when I discovered your website. Um, I was just playing on it, and I started with the most recent year. And I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then I seen that you could go back to when like it was like 5 teams, 6 teams, and like I was like, "Oh, this is crazy!" Like I that sent me down a rabbit hole. I started looking up, okay, when did the NBA start? What teams did start in the NBA? So asking you, did you have to do a lot of research or like are you already like a basketball nut like that in the first place? Like, how did you get that knowledge of when like the NBA started?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a basketball nut. I guess yeah, I kind of have to be. But yeah, I felt kind of similar to you when when I finally decided like, okay, I'm going to put like all of the rosters from like the history of professional basketball into the game and let you play them. And like, I think I know how I want it to work. And it's like, well, wait, when did professional basketball start?
Yeah,
Like, when did they actually start recording stats? Like, what stats were they? It's pretty meager back in
it's
1947, but
crazy.
it's something.
Did you look up like scouting reports? Like, how are you even able to dictate how good a player was that long ago?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So it wasn't my idea. So I kind of copied what someone else did.
Okay.
So I have like a nice community. I have a community of people who sometimes help me out with my game. The game is like semi open. Okay, it's not open source. You can see the source code. You're somewhat limited in what you're allowed to do with it because I'm trying to make a living here.
Yeah.
But people can go in and mess around with things, and it's very very customizable, very like hackable.
Yeah.
So sometimes people do some cool things. So this was a user goes by the name online Nicholas Dobson, which I think is like not a real name. I don't know who this person actually is. Um, but he made historical rosters in Basketball GM for all the way back, similar to what you see in the game. And
Yeah.
he did it with some like kind of like statistical algorithm. Basically, you take all the stats from the history of pro basketball, and you take a bunch of simulated basketball GM leagues with, so basketball GM at that time was just random players. So it would generate a bunch of random players,
Yeah.
and then you could like sim, 100 years, 1,000 years, whatever, with random players, and it would generate random stats. And then so he wrote some code and did some statistics that was basically asking the question, what basketball GM ratings would produce stats, like this person saw
Yeah.
in real life. So, and then you run that for every single player in the history of basketball. There's a few other details and complexities, but that's the general idea, and it works fairly well. Like, it's
Yeah.
certainly not perfect, um, but it gets you something. It gets you something that produces, you know, stats that are realistic enough that like you play it and you feel like, okay, like this is kind of aligns with how I think it should work. It's
Yeah.
close enough. You don't have to suspend your disbelief too much.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I wouldn't have thought it could be perfect because none of us, I mean, a majority of us weren't
Yeah,
even here to even witness a
yeah.
lot of this stuff. But
And
like,
especially when you go to the old days and like nothing was tracked. Like there are
yes,
like no stats. Basically, it's like points, rebounds, assists, and like that's kind of it.
the fake 100-point game that allegedly happened. No, just so you don't have. Did you work in basketball? Did you work in sports? Like, what was your professional background? I guess to going into this, was it more of like you said, like I just love basketball, so I want to make a game around it, or did you have some sort of what I mean, like background that kind of closely aligned to I don't know basketball GM, like
Yeah. Not professionally. I mean, like I've been a big basketball fan for a long time. Like
yeah.
I played in high school. Like I wasn't very good. I'm not going to say like I
What
was
what
like this great.
position? What
I
position
was
did you play?
like power forward center, like
Okay,
six
okay,
three.
okay.
So you know, a lot of it came from that. So and until so I'm 40 years old now. So now I'm retired. I don't play pickup anymore.
Hey, I just
Too,
turned
it's too
30 and I don't
dangerous.
I just turned 30 and I was like if I twist an ankle right now, I would
Yeah,
be down for the count for weeks. I'm good.
yeah. But for a long time played a lot of basketball, was a big basketball fan, and also was like a programmer, um, and had this idea in my head for making basketball GM for a while. Eventually did, but yeah, I've never like professionally been involved in basketball. Um, actually, because of basketball GM, I've met some people in like the analytics community,
That's
and
dope.
like I probably like if I set my mind to it, I probably could like have make some kind of career there.
Yeah.
But then like I feel like this the sports industry, like it's like show business or something, like any industry that like people really want to work in. Um, they pay you like shit and they treat you like shit because they
Yep.
know like everybody wants to work here. Everybody
Yep.
wants to work for an NBA team or whatever. So it's like not actually always the best career option. Um, I'm sure that doesn't apply to every single job in sports, but
There's
as a
some
general
there's some
principle,
there's some sports companies that get it right, but
yeah.
majority of them are exactly what you described.
Yeah, and you could say the same about making video games. That's the same
Yeah,
thing. Like,
100%, 100%.
if you go work for a company that makes video games, like you're going to get treated worse than at like any other, tech company.
Yep.
But if you somehow manage to do it yourself and figure out how to, make a business that way, that's what I did through, kind of, a lot of luck as well. But that's a more fun way to do it. To if you're able to be your own boss.
I agree. Are you self-taught or did you have a education in programming and stuff?
Yeah, self-taught. Like
Let's
so yes,
go.
like I said, like I'm 40 years old, so that means like when I was in like high school when like the dot-com crash happened,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is like before your time, I guess.
Yeah.
So then like when I was in high school, I was thinking, well, like, man, this sucks. Like I really like computers and I really like programming, but like I'm never gonna get a job.
Yeah.
Like the whole like industry like has disappeared. And so I didn't like pursue it as a career. I pursued it as like a hobby. And then eventually that wound up being like, oh, well, that was kind of unfortunate, because, it wound up being a huge industry, but I guess kept my hobby going on the back burner long enough to eventually turn it into a real thing.
I've talked to so many people that have started as hobbyists. I am a 100% a game developer that's starting as a hobbyist. Like I
Yeah.
just enjoy it. I like seeing my ideas come out into this game and I don't know. Like I've been thinking like is the advice to just start your own project if you're self-taught or educated because there's so many people that I feel like they find so much success and joy in starting their own project versus like you said going out into the world and joining someone else's projects.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely truth in that, but it's also like, that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah, yeah.
It depends what else you have going on in your life. Like I was doing this like part time. I had like a day job. and then like I was doing basketball GM, whatever else other time I had.
Yeah.
So it like, well, it depends what your day job is. If you have that kind of flexibility, it depends what else you have going on in your life. If you have the time to put in, and like I did then, but not everybody's going to, and that's just life.
What was the best way to train yourself? Because I've caught myself a lot of times changing what I'm doing. If it's reading, if it's watching tutorials, like I've just went through a lot of different paths on teaching myself. I guess to ask you, like you said, being self-taught, what was something that you did that was like, oh, this has helped me more than anything so far?
Yeah, I guess it's just getting like fixated on something and like trying to solve a real problem. Not saying like because if you come in it very like abstract, like I want to learn like this programming language, you kind of, can waffle around for a while and not really accomplish anything. But if you come in instead and say like, I want to build a piece of software that does this, or,
Yeah,
you have to learn things. And, not just one, you might have to learn about databases. You might have to learn about user interfaces. You're going to wind up learning all these different things, but you're going to have a motivation to do it.
I love that. That's accurate to what I've done myself, honestly. Because like, you could start like you said a tutorial or something, and like soon as I hit something that's like this doesn't apply to anything that I'm working on,
Yeah.
like
Or
I
you're
just turn
reading
off.
it and you're like nodding, like, okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. And then like 10
yes,
pages later, you're like, wait, like, I don't remember it. I don't understand any of
exactly,
this. Like,
exactly. It's hard. It's hard. And like you said, there's so many different languages, programs, softwares. Like there's just so much out there. And like I felt like I did find a lot of success when I did dial down into like, okay, what game engine do I want to use? I tried out all the different game engines. Okay, I liked how this one felt. You being a website has always been fascinating to me because of when I discovered it. I felt like when I
mhm.
discovered it, that was when Steam was getting popular. That was when, you know what I mean? Like you played these types of games downloading something, or you know what I mean, getting something on your device, or
Yeah,
even iPhone, you know what I mean, iOS. So like it being a website and being able to, I could go from my phone to my computer to my tablet and all of that, like that always fascinated me. So I guess to ask you, like, was it always to start as a website, or did you go through a couple different things? Like, what was the decision to be like, no, basketball GM is basketballgm.com?
yeah. It was not originally a website,
Okay,
which is it's kind of interesting because I got started in programming by making websites and like learning like PHP and
same.
stuff like that.
Yep.
Um, and so like at some point I was like, all the programming I know how to do is making websites. Like I don't know how to do any like real programming.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to make something that's not a website. And that was Basketball GM. That was the first piece of software I wrote that was not a website. And then a few years later, I
Wow.
turned it into a website again because I, I, I think when I started, this was like early 2000s. You like couldn't really make a web game
Gosh.
like that. Like the
No.
technology didn't exist. And then it was more by like 2012 was when I started working on the web version of it because then there were all these like new like APIs getting added to web browsers back then, and I was like, it feels like it might kind of be possible to put Basketball Jam in the web browser, and that'd be kind of cool because
Wow.
I've always been a big fan of the web and like web applications, and I could go on about that for a while. It's probably not that interesting for most people, but there's a lot of advantages to being a web app.
Yeah. There is. I was gonna say, like I said, even just being able to be on multiple devices is already like
Yeah.
I went through my I always tell people I went through my Roblox era because that was when I was still trying to find a game engine. I
Yeah.
didn't know what game engines were out there. And in my Roblox era, I learned so much. I learned about organizing my folders and code and how to work with other developers. Like I learned so much in that era, but it was just because I was an orphan when it came to game engines. But that was something everybody drove, was like if you can't get it to work on your computer and your phone, you're losing to 90% of the games on that platform.
Yeah.
And I was just like, even just that mindset, I'm like, that is tough. It is so hard to develop a software program on two separate devices throughout the whole development. It was so hard.
Yeah, and when I started it again back in 2012, like I was thinking of it in terms of, oh, it'd be really cool that it can run on Windows and Mac and Linux
Yeah.
and everything. I wasn't thinking about smartphones. Like I didn't even have a smartphone then.
That's crazy.
Um, and I think it worked on Android like early on, but iOS, it was like years later until iOS added enough of the web API features for it
Yeah.
to actually run there. So I kind of lucked into the whole mobile thing that, it also runs on mobile.
Wow.
And then again, that's kind of the point of the web that it runs everywhere.
Yeah. Wow. Um, Another thing I was intrigued about your website is it's visual, which we'll talk about in our conversation later. Is that you do have visuals. You have different players that get created. You know what I mean? You have team logos in there.
Mhm.
Did it start with those, or did you eventually be like, I'm gonna spend time or get an artist to spend time? Like, how did that get into it? Because I feel like in this sports genre that we're talking about, in this sports management genre, like art is not fond in this genre, like whatsoever. So like I really wonder where your mindset was when you got to this point.
Yeah. So yeah, originally it was not there. Originally there were no graphics at all. Even now it's quite minimal. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's I think most people would look at it and think this is not visual, this is not graphical, this is just a bunch of tables of data. But there are team logos in it. That was a little while later. The game was like established a little bit, was making a little money. I was thinking like, I have no artistic ability. Maybe I can find somebody online to make the logos. I
Yeah.
actually found this guy he was posting stuff on Reddit, just like fantasy, like alternate logos for like real sports teams that he was making. And I was like, oh, this guy's pretty good. Like, let me just like see if I can like get him to do some work for me for cheap
I love
because
that.
he's
Yeah.
doing it for free
Yeah.
already. And that worked out. And then he's done almost all the logos in the game. A few of them are like just random users will send me something, and I'm like, if it looks cool, then I'll put it in the game.
Yeah, yeah.
But like 99% of them are from that one guy, and the same guy I keep going back to over the years.
Wow.
And he's also gotten better. So like the newer ones he's made are like better than the original ones he made. And I
Yeah.
even had him like redo some of the original ones.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool. So like is your plans to keep increasing the art on it or the visual, you know what I mean? Like the high def of it, like because yes, it is a stat
Yeah,
simulator. So like is that even needed or is that something where you're like, no, I really would like to see more visuals because I'm sure you're well aware of Football Manager and the dev cycle that they've went through to reach their insane game engine that they're working through now. Like, I don't know if that is something that's been in your roadmap or something you've thought about being in a sports management game.
yeah. I think for like an individual developer, the idea. So like Football Manager, you're talking about like they have like you can actually watch
Yep.
the soccer games
Yep.
like 3D. Watch it happening live,
Yep.
and um, there's some baseball games that do that as well. Though baseball is like a little bit simpler
Yep.
because it's a little more rigid in what's going to happen. Soccer, very much no. Basketball, same as soccer. Like anything can happen at any time, and anybody
Mm-hmm.
can be anywhere. Um, so it's tricky. I think no, I'm not going to go down that path. Or at least I don't really want to because it's just like it seems like it would just be too difficult to make it look realistic, and then because you're kind of fighting two things at the same time. You want the stats to be realistic, or at least the same type of stats that you're producing now when you simulate the games, but you also want the like individual actions to look realistic. Like they need to run a pick and roll realistically. They need
Yeah.
to do their defensive rotations realistically.
Ooh.
But you know, you can implement that and make that look realistic, and maybe that messes up the stats that are being generated from the game. So then, to actually get realistic stats, you need it to be extremely realistic. At least
Ugh.
that's how it seems to me. So yeah, I don't really want to do that. And honestly, I haven't played a ton of Football Manager because I'm not like that into soccer.
Yeah.
Here in America, I love the World Cups going on quickly. But yeah, I'm not really sure how well they do it.
It's funny because you answered it exactly how I would expect you to answer it because when I've just been a management game craze. Like I've played every type of management game you could probably think of, just to see it. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
Football Manager was something I did catch wind of. 2022 was around the first time I played it. And what you just said, the simulation part wasn't what you played. The
Mhm.
simulation part wasn't what you were looking at all times.
Yeah.
2023, 2024, they got really good at it. Like you said, it got really accurate too. I expected him to score a goal at this point. I expected them to, steal the ball right here because this is the defense I set. Like they got freaky good at it. But they went overboard in this one where, like you said, you can move the camera around the stadium and look at fans cheering and all this stuff. And the biggest thing that they are judging the game on now is the UI and how the menu
Mhm.
looks and all of those
Yeah.
things. And it's like that's it. That's it in this genre. Is like you really have to be good at being a management game. Like
Yeah.
that's what people came to play.
Yeah,
So
which
that's why I was
also
like, I'm sure.
is another thing you get for making a web game. You get a lot of stuff for free when you're making a web game.
Yeah.
Like it can make tables. You can have things that look nice.
Yeah.
You get like the copy paste. Whatever you get a lot of like kind of like text UI things for
Yep.
free, in like a normal game engine. It's a lot more painful to do those kind of like text heavy layouts,
Yep.
which is why I don't entirely understand why Football Manager wants to like be like a traditional video game and do things that way. But I haven't looked at it that closely, so I shouldn't really criticize. But just like vaguely hearing like, oh, we're gonna rewrite it in, was it in Unity or whatever,
Yeah.
and just
Yep.
like why would I want a sports management game to be in Unity? I don't understand, but they might know better.
Yeah. Look, it's a lot of money tied to it. That's the only answer you probably need to know. There's a lot of external forces that are moving that game. But
Yeah,
um since you brought it up about like, hey, I made a little bit of money, let's invest in some art. Your
uh,
game is free to play.
it
Like
is.
what? I feel like it's funny because it makes sense. You started at a time like I always tell people when I was growing up, especially when I got like my first laptop, I was
Yeah,
downloading games on like MMO Hut. I was like free games was just normal. There was so many just free games on the internet. I
mhm.
don't know how any of those games made money, but look, fast forward to you today, you are free to play. You've been able to make some money. I would like to hear your thoughts on making that decision free to play. And did you have the thoughts on how you were going to make money when you made that decision?
Yeah, and that was kind of an accidental decision because yeah, it wasn't planned as a commercial project. Like when I first made it, like I never made a video game. I never made something like this before. So, I wasn't thinking it was going to actually be successful. Um, Even if I did make a video game, I wasn't thinking it would have like, anyone want to play it or more than like a few people maybe.
Yeah.
So, it was always free because I was like, I'm lucky if anybody even plays this thing. Like nobody's gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And initially that was true. Like the initial versions in the early days like weren't very good. Like they weren't worth. Nobody would have bought it. But then if you keep working on it for like 15 years, at some point it actually becomes good and it actually becomes something that people would pay for.
Yeah.
But then it's already been free for years at this point. So like I can't just like, I don't know. I guess you could, but like I feel like I'm already like, I have my user base. I'm already, the guy who makes the free video game. Um, so instead, what I did was put ads in the game,
Yep.
and that's where I make my money. Which also sucks because like ads suck, and they're annoying, and sometimes they break the game in weird ways, and sometimes they're slow, and nobody likes it. But
It's part of the
maybe
beast.
it's nobody likes paying money for things either. Like
Exactly.
it's something has to happen. And the thing with ads are, they pay very little. The ads pay very little, so I'm only able to make some money from it by having a lot of users.
Yep.
So like I can tell you right now, there's 455 people playing basketball GM,
Okay.
and that's like something like that is like 24/7, 365. There's like hundreds of people playing it. So it took a long time to get to that level of user base.
Very
But
impressive.
yeah,
Very impressive. I like I said, I when I first discovered your game, it was in a time where I loved NBA 2K My League. I would do
yeah,
rebuilds all the time. I loved it. I loved it just because
yeah.
like
A lot of people do.
yeah, it was just fun. It was just something I didn't expect, especially like I was getting into Park and my player and my team, and like my league still stuck with me as like, bro, I love making a championship team on this game. And then I started wanting that more than I wanted to play the game. And I swear that
Yeah,
was right where your game hit. Like it hit
yeah.
right there. So like I'm assuming that's like your thought as well as like this is a game I want to play, but you discovered something that thousands of people would love to just sit on the couch and do.
Yeah, so like I played in 2K or NBA Live, the management modes, going back as long as they've existed.
Yeah,
Um, and back then, of course, they were fairly limited, and they had a lot of
they
annoying
were.
things about them, and they still do. They still have some of the same issues that they had back then.
They do.
Um, but I had also played this other video game called Baseball Mobile, which is very similar to Basketball GM. It's just like
Okay.
for baseball.
Yeah.
It's a downloadable game. Like this is from like it's still around. It's still updated. Still a new version every year. But this was like originally in like the late '90s it came out, and it was just so much better than like 2K or Madden like management modes because
Yeah.
it was the whole game. The whole game is just the management mode. So the developers just purely focused on making that a good experience as opposed to these other games where it's kind of like oh, it's like a nice little add-on. It's not like the main
It's
game,
not
but
the
it's like a
full
nice little
reason.
thing
Yep.
people
Yep.
can do. So like I felt like Baseball Mogul was just like a much better experience. But then some games like that existed for other sports, but they weren't as good. I'm not going to say like I was the first basketball simulation game. I wasn't. There's been other
Yeah.
ones
Yeah.
in the past, but they never quite did it for me. So yeah, that was my motivation, was that like I had been frustrated by like 2K and NBA Live, but I had seen Baseball Mogul and thought like, oh, you can actually do better. Someone's done it for a different sport, so maybe I can do it for basketball.
I love that. I love that. That's it. Any time someone asks me anything about game development, because I'm fairly new. I'm 3 years into game development across my
Mhm.
many different projects, and I've met a lot of people who wonder that, like, okay, how do you get an idea for a game? Where
Yeah.
I mean, where do you even start? And like,
Yeah, and it's
I've heard
usually what you start from somebody else's idea, and
exactly, exactly.
you make a slightly different version of it.
Yes, and you see the things that you would do different or you would enjoy if this had this in there, and it gives you an appreciation as well. Like I'm sure, I don't know, but like, did you have that appreciation when you did start making your management game? Where like, dang, like they had to put some work into this. The ones that came before you,
Oh, definitely. Especially if I'm thinking of like the games that were doing this in the '90s or even in the '80s. Like, if I
why?
complain about what it was like 15 years ago, with the tools I had then versus what people have now, I can't imagine what it was like for the people doing it like the previous generation.
Well, that leads very very well into our next conversation. Is 2026 has been crazy from a AI standpoint, from the art generation, the video editing, you name it. AI is touching it and doing it at not a bad level anymore, which is a whole nother topic in itself. But from a video game topic, like I was just literally just scrolling on Reddit and I seen your post. that was just a very, very like it hit me because me being new into game development and seeing people that came before me very worried about the current state of game development and how it aligns with AI use. And like even your line, I have it right here. So you said, so I guess for now, I'm just going to continue business as usual until the siege truly begins. What was your thought putting this article together? Like what did you see? What did you come across that really made you like it's coming? I don't know when, I don't know how, but like AI is good, but it's good for itself. It's not good for my business and my, you know what I mean, what my well-being, my life. Like so like what did you come across to put that article up on Reddit?
Yeah. Well, I guess hearing you say all this, I feel like I'm old now. Like for a while I felt like, like basketball gem's like this new game, and there's these other old games that were around before, but like,
Yeah.
and if I had talked to you like a few years ago, like I would have given you advice, and I would have felt like, oh yeah, I'm giving good advice, like I know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
And like I don't know what to tell anybody now. Like, I don't know what to tell you to do. There's a new sports management game being released almost every day. So like,
you could get
how
on Reddit and
how
scroll every
how,
single day.
how are you supposed to compete with that? How are you, like, even if you make a good game, how are you going to get anyone to try it? There's just how they're not gonna believe you. Back when I made Basketball GM, there might have been a new sports simulation game every year.
I was gonna say I
One
you
person
keep
every year might try it or
it's
something.
crazy.
Um, yeah, but so yeah, it's been pretty wild to see how AI has been improving, and like, um, yeah,
Eh,
these new games being these new games constantly being released. I would say none of them are like, I don't feel like any of them yet are like a true competitor or something. Like I don't think any of them are like as good or as deep as a basketball GM. But
Yeah,
there's still things that, like, if I saw it a few years ago, I would have said like, wow, like this is a really good start.
they're on to something.
Like
Yeah,
wow, like you made this in like a couple months. Like that's incredible. If you keep working on this, like it's really going to be something. Um, so like I can't say that they're nothing. Like there's something.
yeah,
And then what's it going to be in the future if it keeps getting better? And then the funny thing is they're all web games, and not all of them, but like a lot of them are
a
web
lot of them
games.
are. Yeah,
So they're coming, right into my niche, which for a while I was like the only web game, or pretty close to that.
yeah,
Certainly, if you consider like the number of like features in Basketball GM, like there were no other web sports management games with that type of features.
yeah,
Whereas now, like that's what the AI likes to do. The AI likes to make a web game. That's like almost like its preferred type of game. Um, so I very quickly went from like I have this like weird type of game that's kind of like hard to make, and probably nobody's really doing this. So everybody's doing it, and actually it's very easy to do now. So that's been weird. Um, yeah,
wow. Um, look, a lot. I have so many notes about this topic just because like it's concerning. It's concerning being a
yeah,
new game developer. So like this is something I've dreamed about doing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh,
yeah,
like I would love to
yeah,
make my own game, and finally putting in the work, putting in the grind,
yeah.
putting in the, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you
I know.
started at a
Yeah,
time where like it was hard. It was so hard to get to this point, and being
yeah,
able to see people just type it into a chat and get it
yeah.
is mind blowing.
I would say right now, I think like the AI still requires like a skilled user to create something like really good.
Yeah.
So like the people who are creating the best things with AI now are, for the most part, people who were good programmers before,
Yep.
because they know how to manage it. They know how to interpret the output a little bit. They've kind of almost like a bullshit filter to like understand like, is this good? Is this not good?
Yep.
Now, how long that's going to be true, I don't know, because maybe the AI is going to be able to do that itself. But like for right now, I don't think it's like replaced somebody like you. And like even
Yep.
if you started to use AI, I don't know if you do use AI for your
So
work at
so
all.
that's what I was gonna ask you as well. Like, so
Uh,
when I first got introduced to it, I used it so much for planning. I loved using it to plan because when I started building my game, my ideas were large, so humongous, and I loved using AI for scope. Like, okay, out of all of this list of things I'm telling you,
mhm.
where should I focus? Where should I lock in? Even smaller. Can I get smaller than that? Can I get smaller than that? Okay. Oh, I should start with menu buttons. Okay, I could do that. Like, so that was my first introduction to AI. And now where I've this is definitely something I would love to pick your brain on and know your thoughts about. A lot of I was literally gonna explain what you just said. People who have taught themselves coding, went to school for it, et cetera, are turning AI into a junior developer. So like I'm not telling AI work on 95% of my game. I'm telling AI to work on the 2% I don't care about because I'm
Yeah.
giving it all of the parameters. I'm giving it everything I want it to do. It's nothing crazy. Like one of the best examples, and I think for you as well, a name generation. You're sitting here, you're like, dang, I wish my game had more names. Here's where the names are at. Here's the file. Here's the script. Can you generate 150 names? Like small things like that. Like, are you still against things like that, or is that something that you do see as well? Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't say I'm really like against anything. It's more like, yeah, I don't use much of it myself, at least to this point.
Yeah.
Just because maybe I'm just like old and set in my ways, or like, I think the programming part is like fun to me. So then
Yeah.
like I'm not like eager to have like, the
Sm-
computer take away the fun part.
yep.
But um, I probably, realistically, I probably, from some perspective, I probably should, because I probably could be more productive if I did it that if I started using AI more, and maybe I'll be forced to at some point due
Yeah.
to like competition. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but yes, like I really haven't used that much of it. It's more, just looking at what other people do, and like looking even like other programmers that like I've been following online for years, of like, I like, the kind of work you do, or like I
Yeah.
learned from you, if you like, from your code or like blog posts you write. And some of these people are like, yeah, I don't write code anymore.
They're
I just
full
ran it
on.
through AI. And I'm like if you don't write code anymore, like you were already better than me
You're
without the
better than the
AI, and
majority.
now you're
Yeah.
saying, there's something that's better than you. Like, what?
What's next?
Yeah,
I will say this. Literally this week. It was before I seen what you put in Reddit. I got frustrated one time using AI. It wasn't coding or anything. It was just asking it some basic questions. And I still had to do the research on my own. Like it still wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't helping me. I still had to
yeah,
put in the extra effort. And I legitimately got frustrated with myself because I'm like, I just wasted, 15, 20 minutes talking back and forth with this AI, and I could have just found it. And
yeah,
and what I also realized as well, um, I felt like it almost blinds you a little bit. It almost handy. I guess the word is like handicap or crutch. It crutches you
yeah.
where you
You don't have to think. You don't have to think for yourself, or at least
yes,
not as much.
yes, and
The kind of like deep thought, deep learning, where like,
yes,
I'm going to really dive into a problem and figure out, you know, could maybe go to like a reference book. Like, I don't know is anybody going to reference any type of book at all
no,
anymore, like that.
no, and I got so frustrated by that. Like it really frustrated me because I was like, dang, I could see what you just said. I could see someone who is full blown into it. I think that's hard to come back from. I think that would
Yeah,
be really hard to come back from.
yeah. Um, Yeah, and this is a bigger problem than sports video games like
It
sport.
is.
And you get thinking because you start to think like, oh well, if the AI can put me out of business or can replace me or can make a video game from scratch, like it's like, well, we have bigger problems then,
Way
but
bigger problems.
that's not really the main issue here anymore.
It's
Because
not.
yeah, like I have a couple of young kids, and like what is their life going to be like? Who knows?
And it's crazy to think this started because the management genre, like it's so easy, not easy, but like that is where people are using AI so quick and of like, oh, I want to make my own management game. I'm gonna
Yeah, but
type
well,
it in.
but the thing is, that's what we see in our. It's probably just that everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't think about that either, because like this, yeah, like you said, like this just the game I've been focused on
Yeah,
making the last couple of years. But like, I mean, I will say, like I said, I just came out of the Roblox dev community, and
yeah,
that community is first of all money hungry. Like that is the only reason you would put a lot of effort into Roblox right now is you just want to make the cheesiest game you can think of to make a quick dollar. You add that back to, okay, what's the fastest way I can make the cheesiest game? Is there's so many vibe coders in the Roblox community because those games don't take a lot of effort in the first place. So like there used to be devs literally 5 years ago, 5 years ago, which is crazy to say. There were devs in the Roblox community that were pumping out games on their own, just straight from the dome into Roblox, pumping games out. There was whole studios dedicated to this, making these like slop is the term used now, but like that was Roblox. It was mini games. Like we're not trying to make Uncharted here. You know what I mean? We're just trying, we're just trying to make some mini games. So like there were people that was really skilled at that. So like combining AI into that, yeah. I mean, it's some kid that's never coded a day in his life that can make a game on Roblox today and upload it and probably make money on it.
yeah. Except then when everyone does it, then nobody makes money.
Exactly. It gets super
But
pop. That was when I made my exit. That was when I made my exit. It was like, it's too
yeah,
much.
but then where do you go? Exit to where?
Yeah. Yep. And which is funny too, because like even in my game development, and this is definitely going back to to basketball GM, is it has passion. It has a soul. It has life behind it. Like it has substance. And
Yeah, or maybe even like even some things that people might not like about it, or maybe like weird decisions that like are the way because I want them to
yes.
be the way.
Yes.
You know, I've heard some people say that before about like the difference between like a game that's made by like one person versus a game that's made by like a company that's like has a bunch of consultants and blah blah blah.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
like, do you have like a coherent like vision? Like, is
Yeah.
there something to your game? And then like, yeah, if the AI is driving the core gameplay, um, it's going to be similar to other AI games, or I
Yes.
don't know.
Yeah. No,
But I, I kind of, but then like all the stuff we're talking about, it kind of feels like this is just like a point in time. Like this is like this weird point in history where like the AI has reached this level where it can have this impact, and and it's starting to like affect us. But then like, are we going to look back on this in like a couple of years, like who even cared? Where is this going? Where is this
and
going? Where do you think it's going? Where are we going to be in a
and
few years?
that's where like I basketball GM, like you said, the fan base you've built, the people who have followed you, the people who have played your game is always going to compare anything that they play from this point on back to your game. And that's even saying, like you said, if you work on basketball GM 5 years from now, the amount of features and content and things that your decision making is going to do, personally to me, like I feel like that's why basketball GM is basketball GM, because of what you just said. Is like it's gonna be you making that game. And I think when we think 10 years from now, that is going to be important. That's going to be
Yeah,
the most important thing is like, who made this? I want to know who
maybe
made this.
that's like there were definitely a few people who had similar responses to
Yeah,
my blog post. Um, and like obviously it would be good for me if that's how it played out because that sounds like
of
a nice.
course.
In the future, everyone will love and appreciate your work. Oh well,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a nice future. Let's hope that happens. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to play out that way because I think people are just thinking like current state of AI. Well, let's people continue to have the current state of AI for 10 years. Are
Yeah,
they get But that's not what's going to be. They're going to have AI 10 years from now in 10 years,
yeah,
and um, this stuff didn't come out of nowhere. Like Chat GPT kind of did. Like it was still like like I've been like I'm not going to say I'm like expert on like the field of AI or anything, but I've been kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
loosely following things for a while. And like Chat GPT did like kind of shock me. I was like, oh wow, it's like really that good.
yeah,
Like I had seen it was there were like impressive results and like you know dating back to like having the computer figure out what's in a picture. Like, is this a picture of a bird or is this a picture of a cat or like whatever? Like, um, to go from there to like you can actually talk to it like a human in
yeah,
a few more years. It can like almost kind of sort of replace my job.
yeah,
Um, it's been a pretty rapid rate of improvement for about 20 years now.
yeah,
It hasn't really shown a sign of stopping at any point in the
yeah.
past 20 years. So I don't know. I don't know if things in the future are gonna be like they are now, where it's like, oh, that's a vibe coded game because it's in dark mode and it has like a gradient, so I know it has it has an M dash and it uses emojis, so
Yeah.
that's an AI game. Like I don't know how much longer
People will
um,
care that much
we're
for that.
gonna or that like that's what it's gonna do. Like it's gonna get
Yeah.
smarter.
Hmm. Well, since you brought it up about the emojis and the M dashes, the 82-0 game.
Yeah,
My friend randomly sent me this middle of the day. Literally, his only text was like, "I like this site." I was like, What are you sending me?" And I opened it, and I understood it immediately.
yeah,
I was like, "This is great.
yeah.
This is
It's beautiful in
fantastic."
its simplicity.
Yes, I was like, "This
Beautiful
is
design.
yeah." So, were you aware of this game being made? Like, what was your thoughts when it came out? Like, 82-0 pops up. What was Jeremy thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I guess kind of what I just said that like, oh, this is like a really like cute, simple little game. Um, I was thinking like this is like going to be fun for a little while, and then it's not going to have much staying power because it's too simple.
Yeah.
Um, is that what happened? Would you say is it like tailing off in popularity, or is it still like quite popular? I mean,
It
it's
feels like it's trying to hold on to it, whatever you know
yeah,
what I mean, whatever that moment
yeah,
was. But I'll tell you what the craziest thing is, and this is what I'm really wondering if this is in your development cycle or whatever it is. But sports gambling is humongous. It's probably the biggest it's ever been. It's a quadrillion-dollar industry now. Every sport is being betted on right now. Um, People talk about games being fixed, all that stuff. I seen I can't remember which gambling app it is. They have a version of it. I can't remember which gambling app it is. I'm gonna have to look it up. But
yeah,
that is now the concept. Build your lineup to go 82-0, put some money on it.
huh?
And I'm like,
And
that's
is
it,
that
it
it's just
happened
like
that
based on
fast.
simulated 82
Yes.
and 0, I guess. So it's not even like gambling on real games. You're just
Yes.
gambling on a video
Yes.
game. Yeah,
Put some money on it. It happened so fast, and I'm
yeah.
like,
I
that's
haven't seen that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
And what do you think about all the 82 and 0 clones?
I think that was bound to. I think exactly what was told to me when I was building my game
Mm-hmm.
was if you put a game out there in 2026, people will copy it. That's just where we are Now they're gonna reskin it into something that fits what they want, because
Yeah,
that's vibe coding. I see something I like, I'm gonna reskin it to something that fits my needs and what I want it to do. I think that's just the world we're in right now. Is there's a lot of copycats in the world today.
yeah, yeah.
What's your thoughts on it? Like, did you is that the same thought? Like, I mean, people are gonna copy. That's the world we're in now.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt like on some level, I was like, oh, this is like kind of sad because like the game is simple enough. Like I could make that in a day. You know, like why do you have to use AI to make that? Like
Yeah.
have some self respect. Um, but have you seen Six Rings?
No.
Go Google that. You're probably gonna get hooked on that. It's kind of like an 82 clone, but then like it's kind of like expanded into like its own thing, and it's like I don't know that it's vibe coded. I assume it is because it happened so fast and he's been adding like a bunch of features.
Yeah.
Um, but it has like a multiplayer mode too, which is like kind of fun.
Oh, this looks
Um,
crazy.
yeah, check it out. It's basically
Duels.
like yeah, it's much more advanced stats driven. Um, so it's not like 82-0. One of the criticisms was it's just all 1
Yeah,
3
it's
rounds
very.
assist basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Get your Wilt Chamberlain or whatever.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Wow.
check that one out. It's fun.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been
yeah.
playing it. You
I'm gonna
might,
keep that one up. I'm gonna keep that one up. You also mentioned though, like, um, I mean, like you just said, like the complexity of stats and stuff, especially around AI. But you mentioned someone in your community was able to build something that is very complex from a probability analytics standpoint that sure AI could probably do, but knowing that someone already has that skill in their brain, like, to me, I love that. I love knowing that someone can do that type of stuff without AI. But like, I'm assuming you brought it up in the sense of like they didn't use AI. So like you said, do we have to be worried about AI if people have the ability to be able to do these very complex analytics on their own? Two-part question. I'm assuming there's a lot of math and analytics behind your game as it is. So like, would just love to know. Like, I mean, I can only imagine the type of math and stuff that's happening behind the scenes of your game
yeah.
anyway.
And this is just like about like not like the core of the game. It's just kind of like a little detail
Yeah.
when when you view the draft lottery, it shows you the table of like probabilities, like the probability that each team will land at each pick.
Mm-hmm.
And when the NBA, introduced their new lottery system that's going to take effect next year,
Yep.
and I implemented that in my game, but it became like really slow to calculate those probabilities with my old code because it's picking so many teams instead of picking like the top four teams. It picks the top whatever it is, like 16 or you know 16 teams, and just due to the nature of how these probabilities are calculated, that became really slow. And so instead, in my first version, I was just estimating the probabilities, and then like if you clicked reload, the probabilities would change a little bit, and it was just kind of ugly and messy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then this guy on Discord sent me um, a better version of this of calculating the probability table, and he used some like it's not like he did anything like completely crazy, but he did something that like you know requires some skill, requires some like computer science knowledge,
Yeah.
um the type of thing that like, and I don't know who this person is, like, so like I don't I assume it's like a young person because like usually that's the type of person who has the time to like mess around with basketball GM. A lot of like college students or something like that. So you're
Yeah.
just thinking like a college student who has like this skill set, not just to know these algorithms, um, but to be able to apply them to a real project. A few years ago, you would have said, "Well, man, like the world's going to be your oyster. Like you're going to be able to get whatever job you want,
Yeah.
work on whatever you want. Um, you're going to be set." And now it's like, is anybody going to care? Is anybody going to care about you? Um, So it's kind of
Oh,
back to how I felt like I said before when I was in high school and like the dot-com crash was happening. It was like, geez, like nobody's gonna hire programmers anymore. Like this is dead.
yeah.
Like you know, like I just feel for like the young people who are like trying to get into the field and seeing like everybody's like getting these great jobs and making money and doing all this cool stuff. And then now it's like, wait, like, what happens to me?
Dang. Um, I am in the business field, and when I first got into the business field, there were so many things I just didn't know. Even just like as simple as like a meeting, a presentation. How do you put together a good presentation? And that has been something I have passed down to a lot of people, especially younger people now. Is like I feel like there's so many skills now that you have to focus on outside of your job. Especially like you said, something like coding, where like, sure, half of your team might be vibe coding. I don't know. But who's dependable? You know what I mean? Who shows up to work on time? You know, who writes good notes here? Like those are the types of things I feel like have been a brighter light lately, especially
Yeah.
at least in the scenes that I've
Yeah.
been
I don't know.
been
I feel like
going
it's
through.
similar to what I was saying before. Like I feel like I agree with you right now. I agree with
Okay.
you in 2026.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like, what about a couple years from now?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
how confident are you that that's still going to be true?
Yeah. I don't know.
And yeah, I mean that's the I think that's the answer. But it's kind of scary.
It is. It is. I guess with that being said, basketball GM. I this was part of my question as well. Do you develop the game alongside the season? Like as far as like, okay, next season's coming up. Is there any new rule changes? Is there, you know what I mean? Anything I need to adjust? Like, is that like a purposeful thing that you do?
Yeah, like I just said with the draft lottery, like I added the draft lottery in like a couple days after they finalized it. Like I
Yeah.
tried to do that because that's how people want to play it. Like most people, some people are going to go back and play the 1947 version, but most people are going to play want to play the current day, and they want to
Yeah.
say what's going to happen this season, next season.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I tried to do that, and then also with like with the other sports because I'm one person, so I can't be working on all the sports at the same time.
Yep.
They share a lot of code, but then, if it's like, the basketball game simulation code, well, that only affects the basketball game. So it'll be more like I'll be like watching like the baseball playoffs or something. I'll be like, I should really work on baseball some. And then the season ends and I'm like, oh yeah, for whatever,
Yeah.
let me go back to working on basketball.
Yeah. Do people throw shade over that? Like, I wish you spent more time on the baseball version versus the basketball version.
Yeah, I think yeah. Yeah, people definitely say that. People think a lot of there's a lot of I've gotten a lot of feedback that people think the football version doesn't get enough attention, which is maybe true, but like in some ways the football simulation is better than the basketball simulation,
Okay.
which doesn't really make sense because the basketball is the main game.
So this segment is called Nasty Bugs, and I've been asking this to devs a lot lately because, like I said, I'm in my own dev journey, and I've hit some bugs that have put me out of commission for a couple days because my brain couldn't handle what it was I was trying to figure out. So I would love to hear what was the worst bug that you have encountered in your journey developing basketball GM.
Uh, there were uh, there were two that come to mind, and they're both not basketball. They're both in the other sports. Um,
Okay.
there was one. This was in the very early days of football GM. I had a sign error, so like a plus sign should have been a minus sign, something like that. And it was in the
Mhm.
game simulation code. And the effect of this was that instead of your offensive line helping your offense line hurt your offense. So somebody realized if I put a bunch of like kickers and punters as my offensive line, then I just win every game because now I have the greatest offensive line in the league. So that was pretty ridiculous.
That's crazy.
And then there was one other good one, which is in the hockey game. So in hockey, so like if you're losing late in the game, they pull the goalie, right? You take the goalie out of the game and you put in another attacking player to try to score a goal. And obviously, it's a very risky thing because it's very easy for the other team to score. So it's like a desperation move. Like, I need to score now. So I'm going to take the goalie out. And so
Yeah.
that is in ZenGM hockey. It does pull the goalie. Um, and then the bug was that if the team scores, and so now they've tied the game, the goalie would stay out. It wouldn't put the goalie back in. But it was a very specific situation. So usually it did put the goalie back in. It was something related to like if a if a certain position was in the penalty box at the same time that this
Oh
happened. So it was
gosh.
like a very like rare bug. It was something that would happen like once every like 30 years or something. The team would score and then they would just never put their goalie back in. And then
That's
sometimes they would do this
crazy.
and they would win the game. Like they would score another goal because they just didn't put their goalie back. And but most of the time they would lose because of it. But that's also, I mean, I think both of those bugs are just like, if you just imagine what that would look like in real life, are just like completely
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Wow. How long did it take to even discover something like
Yeah.
that?
The,
Like you said, that's
yeah.
such rare instance.
The offensive line bug was like faster. People noticed it. Um, the goalie one, that was in the game for years until somebody noticed it. And then it took so long to debug because it was just again that like really like specific situation, like interaction with the penalty box in a specific position, being in the penalty
Yeah.
box. Because I was like, I'm looking at the code and like here's the code where the player comes back into the game after you score a goal and and then I'm running the code and obviously this happened and it's just this rare situation. So that was trickier, but yeah, probably
Wow.
that probably
Years.
changed the result of a lot of games and no one noticed for years.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I have one more topic that I accidentally skipped
Okay,
over.
sure.
And then I'm gonna get you out of here because this has been a good conversation. I really appreciate you
Yeah.
taking the time. And one thing, like I said, being in my own dev journey, I've been asking a lot of devs like marketing. Like marketing is so, especially in all these game development communities and groups, like marketing gets brought up so much. Should I reach out to influencers? Like, should I pay for ads? Like, there's so much conversation around it, and I know that's probably something that's not on your radar as much now that you have a strong fan base. I'm just speaking for you. I would love to hear your thoughts, but like, what does marketing in 2026 look like for something like a basketball GM to not only get that return, but you know what I mean? That's a good use of your time.
Yeah, and this probably just goes back to me feeling old. Like I don't know at this point. Even back in my time, back like 10,
Yeah.
15 years ago, like I didn't have like a great marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Um, I probably should, the normal like game dev advice that you're referencing probably would have said that like I didn't do a very good job. Like I should have spent more
Yep.
time on marketing. Like
Yep.
why did it take you 10 years to build up a user base?
Yep.
Like that's a little slow, isn't it? So I think it's probably true. Like I got some users on Reddit. I got some from posting on the NBA subreddit. And this was, again, like back like 10, 15 years ago, it was a different place. So like you could just
Yeah.
post stuff there and it was fine. Now, if you post something without permission, they're going to delete it. And
Yep.
they've given me permission once a year. Every year I ask them like, hey, can I post basketball GM again? And they always say like, yeah, sure, you can make a post. I don't know what they're going to say this year because I bet they've had just
Oh yeah, I
so
couldn't
so
imagine.
many games being posted now. They
Oh,
might just be like, yeah, I'm done with you. But even if that happens for me, it doesn't really matter at this point because like you said, like I'm kind of like established. I have a
strong.
user base. Um, Besides that, like I don't know, like a lot of people find my game from Google, from word of mouth. Um,
Do you use social media like
A
that?
little bit. Like I have like a Twitter account, I have an Instagram account. Like I'm, they're not that big. Reddit is the biggest one. I have like a subreddit.
Yeah, yeah.
And Discord, of course. Like there's a Discord, but that doesn't really help you get new users. That's just more like
Right, right, right.
for your users, the community there. The other idea I had was like, if you look at like like a Kenny Beecham or something, people
Yes.
doing the 2K rebuilds. So years ago I'd emailed him like, hey, like, can you play basketball GM? Like, I think you'd like it. Like, can I like pay you to play basketball GM? Like, how does this work? Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so of course he didn't reply to me. Um,
Yeah.
but then eventually he did play basketball GM. He did make a basketball GM video. If you go like look it up, you can find it. And it got like a couple
For
100,000
real?
views, something like that. He was just like scratching the surface. Like he was just literally like live streaming, like, this is the first time I'm playing basketball GM.
Okay.
Um, so it would have been nice if I like had fully hooked him and he was just like switched his whole channel from 2K to basketball GM or
To
something. But
that.
like,
That would have been crazy.
yeah, I don't know how likely something like that would be because he's already quite established. And then now at this point, he's on to bigger things anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that also like didn't really work. I mean, it worked in the sense that like eventually somehow he heard about basketball GM from like people bugging him to play it, and then he
Yeah.
made a video, and it's like, cool, like you make a video, you get a couple 100,000 views or whatever, like that's great, like that's a huge amount for a sports simulation game. But then
Yeah.
you know how many of those people actually click through and play? How many of those
Yeah.
people who click through and play come back the next
Yeah.
day?
Who knows?
And
Yeah.
then it tails off pretty quickly. It's the same for like I was saying, like if you post on like the NBA subreddit, like you think like, oh, that's great, there's like a million people on the NBA subreddit. Yeah, but it tails off quickly, and like after
Yeah.
like a week you're back where you started pretty much, unless you know I guess you have to have something better than basketball GM, because maybe if you have something that's hooks people better, then that works. But for me, that never really worked. All I could ever get was like gradual slow growth over the years.
Yeah. Which is good. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's been me as a content creator. Like, I've always told my community, like, I've never prayed for the virality. I never have, because like you said, what comes with that is people that have very strong feedback that, you know what I mean, they don't really understand you. They don't understand the community. They don't know how to talk to you. Like, and I've always said, like, I've hated virality for
Yeah, well,
my
yeah, especially in
personal
like
gain.
video games, the
Yep.
video game users don't really have the best reputation for
They don't.
civility. But yeah, I've felt fortunate to like avoid, like I've had like no bad experiences, and some of that's probably that it's like a free game or whatever.
Yeah.
But some of it's probably just that it's not popular enough, and if it was like 100 times more popular, then
Yeah.
I would be hearing some different things. But I don't know. But then you can also say, well, oh yeah, I don't want to go viral. I'm just going to have slow growth and organic growth and my core users and that. And like, okay, well, what if that means 10 years from now, you still have 5 users?
Still
So
struggling. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's
Some
there's
some got to
no
change.
there's no I don't there's no perfect answer to it, but
Yeah.
I think it's probably more people probably fail in that way, fail in the way of like they can never get enough people to care, as opposed to like
Yeah.
you're like what was it, like the Flappy Bird guy who like kind of like couldn't handle it was too much, like he deleted the game because it was just too
It was
much to
valid.
handle. But like like that's usually not what happens. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to keep improving the games. They've already gone beyond what I initially planned for them, and I want to keep doing that. I want to make there's a lot of things at the core of the basketball simulation that I want to improve, and I've been talking about that online for a little while now,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
I
feel
feel
like
bad that I
you
haven't.
share a lot of the development in the Reddit, which I definitely appreciate
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I feel a little bad that I haven't made more progress on that, but hopefully I will soon. And yeah, there's just any like simulation game, it's like endless, like because
You can
it's a
always,
simulation, right?
yep.
Like the simulation can always be more accurate, it can always be more be
Yep.
more detailed. It can always have more features. You're never done. Like I have like a giant to-do list, and no matter how fast I'm working, like I'm always adding stuff to it faster than I'm crossing stuff off. And that's been going on for like, literally 15 years now. So
Oh
like
my god, that
it's absolutely
terrifies me for
massive.
the
It's
game I'm
absolutely
making.
massive at this point.
That terrifies me for the game that I'm making. But I hear that from everybody. But like I said, basketball GM to me is 100% a classic in this category of management games. I have not played anything like it. Like I said, the only thing that I could compare it to was 2K My League, $1 billion company that was doing it half effort. So coming across basketball GM, I've loved it. I've appreciated it. I hope you feel that love from your community moving towards through this development. Um, and I appreciate you hopping on, chopping it up with me.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, I appreciate all the kind words. And
Yeah.
yeah, thanks.
Two, two, two.